What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Truzz the Bank podcast. Myself, Joshua, we are here. And guys and girls, it's big. It's big because Ravens football is back this week. It's happening. This is the last recording about, if something pops up, obviously something will happen before the pregame stream, which will happen at, I believe, 3 p.m. on Saturday. And then obviously the postgame stream will happen right after the game. The game is set for 6 p.m. I live on the West Coast, so I have 3 p.m. on my calendar. 6 p.m. We're not doing a 4-hour stream before the first preseason game. I'm sorry, people. But 6 p.m. and then the game's at 7 p.m. So that should be a lot of fun. Make sure to come through to that. We always have a ton of fun in those. But this is it. This is kind of our, preseason episode, our preseason show. We have, we're going to try and get Wednesday or Thursday podcast episodes out. And those segments will be posted, up until the games start. But, kind of topics we're going to talk about today is just overall in preseason, what are the best battles to look out for? The Ravens practices, some interceptions being thrown a fair bit. And then, finally, just kind of previewing this game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the three players that we think, we need to be looking out for, the top three guys to watch in that matchup. So, make sure to come through if you, are watching this on YouTube and it's Wednesday. You can either wait till Friday to watch that, or you can check out Spotify. You can, video podcast platform. You can actually watch the whole thing on there as well. But if not, if you want to wait, no worries. We appreciate you no matter what. But Joshua, let's talk about it. We're looking at it, this first preseason game.
Yes, sir.
This Ravens roster, the unofficial roster is out, or unofficial depth chart is out. It's made by the PR staff, not by the Baltimore Ravens organization. So it's not, technically, factual, but it's a general consensus of what, the PR team is thinking. What are the best battles that you're looking forward to in this preseason of who's going to take over what spot?
Oh, man. I think we got to go first from the offensive side of the ball. And I know people don't want to hear it, but we got to speak on it. We got to talk about that running back position. With the type of offense that Monken is, trying to implement, I don't know if you heard, but, it has been talked about a lot that, in some of the open practices that, Justice Hill is being used out the backfield, in passing plays. Gus Edwards also catching the ball out the backfield as well. Will J.K. Dobbins be available for this offense? Because, we see what he can do after the catch. Can a Keaton Mitchell, a young, speedy guy like himself, make a push? Even though, yes, we did bring in Melvin Gordon. Possible depth piece, due to, all the discussion and the swirling around going on that J.K. may sit out this year of what could possibly be. But, I feel like this offense, this new style of offense that we're bringing, we're trying to be fast, hit them hard, and constantly get yardage. So I definitely feel like the first piece of offense side of the ball would be the running back position, just to see if that young guy Keaton Mitchell can make that push. I don't know if Gus is going to be out there. I don't think they're gonna overwork him. Maybe like the first set, possibly. See how he looks, just to keep him fresh.
I think the running back position is definitely one to look out for. And it was always one with Greg Roman as to, who's going to be that, guy. Is J.K. going to take over? Is it, Justice Hill? What are we going to see? But this year, I feel like it's who's going to be that last running back? Because like you said, Joshua, we need something different out of our running backs now. We need the pass catching ability and the explosiveness. So, Justice Hill, he actually provides some value there. If Justice Hill is able to play well enough at that running back spot, maybe the Ravens don't keep 4 running backs for the first time in a while. But if he's not, and we see, a Melvin Gordon balling out, or we see a Keaton Mitchell balling out, and we keep 4 running backs, that'll be really interesting to watch. And also, I think just the overall Justice Hill versus Keaton Mitchell something is a player battle to watch for the special teams. The kick return aspects, the punt return aspects. Yeah. If Devin Duvernay, who got injured last year and stopped fielding, those kick returns and punts, Justice Hill started to become that guy, but Keaton Mitchell projects to maybe become a potential special teams contributor if he is to make the roster. So not only is he battling with Justice Hill for that 3rd, 4th running back slot, but he's also battling to maybe become the team's kick returner. Can we see someone overthrown Duvernay as the guy, because now Duvernay, is no longer. Last year I felt like it was tough for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was asked to be wide receiver 2 and then eventually like wide receiver 1, even though he's fielding kicks and punts. And it was like they were trying to fade him away from kind of doing that. Yeah. Now it's like, okay, he's back. Do they want to use him as the punt and kick returner? Or did they want to maybe try someone else with, let them waste their legs and energy? Where, we can still use Devin Duvernay because I still expect him to be involved in the pass game. He's electric after the catch. Don't think that Devin Duvernay is just out of the offensive picture. He's still a weapon to be utilized.
No, I definitely agree with that, man. I don't know about you, but I mean, it definitely hasn't. The chatter has been silent, I guess we could say, about two off-season workhorses and Devin Duvernay and James Prochet. The second. I don't know what their future may be with the Ravens. I do hope that we at least find a way to keep one of these guys and keep them, involved into the passing game because we had so much high hopes for them. But I definitely feel like, this running back position is something that is more interesting to look at. Like I said, it's so much controversy, so much of a situation swirling around with JK, even though, I've heard today that he's possibly making his way back to practice, which is a great thing to hear. Hopefully, the contract and the agreements and the conversations work themselves out before the year is out, or even after the year is over. And I hope that he has a healthy season and prove that he's deserving of the money that he's asking for as well. It's just it's a big thing when it comes to the negotiation part, and then the bigger aspect of things is just seeing how these guys work together, man. Just seeing who wants it more, because you got 3 games this year. A couple years ago, it was 4 games, and you had a more chance of fighting because that 4th game was more for those guys that was like on the cusp of being out the door. So it's like that 4th game was like, okay, here's y'all guys' time to shine. Let's give me a reason for me not to cut you, So yeah, these 3 games really means a lot for everyone. But if you had to go with another position, man, what was the next position you would be looking at?
I'm looking at the man that got extended today, Mr. Broderick Washington. I'm looking at that defensive line, right? We have 3 big bodies that are all very good at what they do. Mm-hmm. But that competition of Travis Jones being the pass rusher interior defensive lineman versus Matabike, who's kind of the finesse, but still bigger guy run stopping defensive lineman. The Michael Pierce, the just true prototypical nose tackle.
Yeah.
And then Broderick Washington, who's, fitting to replace Calais Campbell at potentially 3 tech and maybe slide outside in certain defensive sets. We can't use all 4 of them at the same time. And we are going to play them in the preseason. Maybe not Michael Pierce as much, but I think we will play Matabike. I think we will play Broderick Washington. I think we will play Travis Jones, seeing how they play well together, where they're aligning on the defensive line, and who's going to beat the other ones out for the 1st and 10 snaps, right? Because we know who's going to be in on 3rd and 1, right? It's probably not going to be Travis Jones. It's probably going to be Broderick, Matabike, and Michael Pierce. But in 1st and 10, are you keeping Michael Pierce? Probably not. So then you slide in Travis Jones, and you go, okay, do we want 2 edge rushers, right? So if we have 2 edge rushers, we're going to have our outside linebacker in probably a Dafe, and then maybe slide our pass rusher in David Ojabo onto that defensive line, take out Broderick Washington, or, maybe you slide Broderick Washington inside instead of Matabike. Whatever it is, we don't know how they're going to utilize them, how they're going to battle it out. They're going to have to show in this preseason, who's going to take over, because we all knew Calais was going to play. But now he's not there, and it's who gets to fill that Calais hole. Is it more Broderick? Is it more Travis Jones? Who's it going to be? That's something that I'm really keying in on. And shout out to the contract, $15.75 million over 3 years. Big money for him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely big congrats to Broderick Washington, man. That's been one of our guys, man, that we've definitely been rooting for, and he's been silently, working and showing himself, of his worth. I never forget the game where he actually worked with Calais Campbell, and hey, I forgot what he said he was going to dive in a way so Calais can get up there and block the field goal. I think that was
Yeah.
the Detroit game,
I think it was
or
Colts.
okay, and you know they worked together, and Calais came with the block, man. So it's definitely great to see our young guys, you know, continually working at their craft and getting better, man. For some reason, I don't feel like Justin's going to get a lot of playtime in these preseason games. I feel like I know it's a big praise, and you know, CTB family, y'all usually get on my case, and you know, and let us know in the comments. But I feel like Justin Madubuike is the Aaron Donald of our Ravens interior defense. I mean, he has been working out with Aaron Donald. He has been getting better. He has the physique of an Aaron Donald. No, he doesn't have the stats and numbers as Aaron Donald, but he's getting there. He's constantly working. He's been a man on a mission, and you've seen it every year when he got his opportunity to get on the field. He makes his presence known. You know, just like even Travis Jones last year. You know that we had a lot of high hopes, and he's shown that he can get the job done. So I definitely feel like, even though yes, we brought in Michael Pierce to be, you know, what Brandon Williams was to us, I feel like those young guys beat him out, and I feel like I'm sorry to say it, I feel like they beat him out in a way like Bud beat down on Earl Spence. I feel like they beat Michael Pierce real bad, man. I just, you know, Michael Pierce is coming back from an injury. You know, sometimes having a year off and recovering, sometimes it does the body good, sometimes it doesn't play it good. These young men, you know, Justin Madubuike, he's been working out with Broderick Washington. I mean, excuse me, he's been working out with Aaron Donald and his trainer, Broderick Washington. I believe he's been working out with a in-state guy, and we've been seeing the videos and the clips of how he's been getting violent with the hands and his work. And we know what Travis Jones can bring to the table, man. So I definitely feel like, you know, this. I'm not trying to nudge Michael Pierce out, but I definitely feel like this young nucleus is ready to step up to the plate and show them like, hey, we know we got some big old cleats to fill because Calais Campbell was gone. We know we got some big cleats to fill because Brandon Williams is gone. But we've shown that we can make some things happen, you know, even last year. And I feel like they're really going to make a push and like say, hey, you know, we're the interior line, we're the interior defense, we're here to stay, and you know, we ain't taking no mess from nobody. As much as I love Michael Pierce to, you know, be that veteran presence and, you know, be like what Calais Campbell was to us or Justin Houston was to us. I don't know. I feel like I would take a Brent Urban over him. You know, I just like guys that know their role, know their job, and contribute. You know, and Michael Pierce, he left us for the money. I'm not saying nobody should leave and go secure the bag. Go ahead, secure your chicken, in the words of Marshawn Lynch, by all means. But you know, he had a stint in Minnesota where he was non-existent, and he came back. We paid him a decent amount of money, non-existent last year. I know he's coming back from an injury, but he hasn't been the same Michael Pierce that we know from when he was a rookie here in Baltimore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with him is he going to be relegated to that, you know, goal line set, that third and short set?
Yeah.
You know, how much value does a big body nose tackle really provide you unless you're truly elite at it? And there's only one, I would argue, there's only one truly elite nose tackle in the NFL, and that's Vita Vea of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, there's other players that could get there. You know, I'm not trying to rule out a guy like Jordan Davis. I don't want to ever disrespect Jordan Davis. That guy could kill me with his pinky, but like he could get there. I'm not trying to say like that type of player can't succeed, but you got to get to that level to be out there consistently. And Michael Pierce, unfortunately, is not at that level. And I think Brandon Williams, towards the end of his career, lost that ability to be that guy where, hey, you can send him out there on 1st and 10 because you're kind of worried about the run. And you know he can still give you push. Whether or not he gets the sack, he wasn't getting the sack, but he was going to give you push. He was going to take up multiple blockers. Is Michael Pierce doing that at this point? We don't know. We're going to have to see that. And I think it's going to be a really good battle. But, you know, is there one final position, Joshua, if you're looking at this Ravens roster, where are you thinking the final the final battle is going to be.
I think we got to stay on the defensive side, McConnell. I think we have to go with the position we talk about the most outside of wide receiver. I think we got to go with our secondary. We got
That's the exact thing I was thinking.
All right, man. All right, cool. We on the same page then.
Yeah.
You got Mr. Kayvon Seymour. You got Mr. Jalen Armour Davis. You got Pepe Williams. I think Trayvon Mullen. I don't know for sure if guys if y'all can confirm it. I think Trayvon Mullen's out for the year due to an injury. I'm not for sure if that's.
I think he is.
Okay. But you got Rock Johnson, which when you look at the deal that Marcus Peters got, it look it even out, You got Pepe Williams, Jordan Swan, I believe Darius Washington, Brandon Stevens, who I feel like now they're going to actually, let them just stay at safety, which they should, in my opinion. I guess the question is, which young man steps up? I mean, we've been hearing that Jalen Armour Davis been having his days where he's looking good. I heard my boy Jordan Swan straight out of Baltimore. He caught himself a pick off of Anthony Brown. So Caillou, he's being solid. He's being solid, and that's the things we like to hear. And I guess, like I said, the big question is, which one of these young men take that step to be the number 2 corner, outside of Marlon? Because 9 times out of 10, Marlon will be that Roman type of corner, So who's going to be out there most of the time, out on the field, on the outside, and who can handle their own and strap up them cleats? Because you got a lot of speed we're going to be going against in the AFC North and all over. Even the Eagles got some pretty decent talent outside of Devontae Smith and AJ Brown in regards to wide receivers. So they definitely going to be battle tested come this weekend. So I definitely want to see which young man steps up and, make their presence known. Like, hey, I'm ready to step up to the plate. I'm ready to say, I'm ready to get interceptions. I'm ready to be a part of this, this stout ball hawking defense.
Yeah, I think cornerback is always a question mark with the Ravens because of the injury problems that we've had to deal with the last couple of years. But when I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the players to watch, I think it's 3 guys that are associated with Red in college. It's Pepe, it's JAD, and it's Caillou. Like, those are the 3 guys right now that I'm looking at. Now, obviously, because I think we know what everyone else is going to give you.
Right.
Rock Ya-Sin is an okay cornerback. That's what he is. He's not going to come in and turn into some Pro Bowl. If he did, I will be the first person to tip my cap to him. But I don't expect him to come in and just be a dominant, outside cornerback. He can be solid, right? Upside is solid cornerback. Downside is just like pretty meh. We know what he's going to bring. We know what, Kayvon Seymour is going to bring. It's like, decent depth. Can he play a little bit? Yeah. Like, I'm not upset when he's on the field. I don't want to use him as my number 2, but I kind of know what he's going to bring.
Right.
But the question mark is Caillou Blue Kelly, Jalen Armour Davis, and Pepe Williams, because Pepe played a little bit last year and he looked decent. He obviously had some growing pains, but at day 3, these are all day 3 cornerbacks. And Caillou was, he's basically started from day 1 at Stanford up until, I think he started the 2nd game or 3rd game of his career at Stanford up until the very end. Everyone just say a quick prayer for Stanford. They've lost their conference, but moving on. Salty. Am I? Yes. But Caillou Blue Kelly, how's he going to fare at the NFL stage? I don't think he's, necessarily ready to be a starting cornerback for the Ravens, but seeing how he's going to, start out, where his starting point is, that's valuable, because sometimes you see these Pac-12 corners come in and they're great and they come in and they dominate, right? The last time I can remember Stanford having a day 3 cornerback or a late round pick cornerback, Richard Sherman, they had, who ended up falling in the draft. They've obviously had other guys. Paulson Adebo went to the New Orleans Saints. I think he was a 3rd round pick, but he's a very smart player. He's not very fast. How can he adjust to that speed? That's a big thing to watch with him. Jalen Armour Davis struggled last year, but he was seen as kind of a developmental guy. But apparently, per reports Joshua mentioned, he's been playing very well, and he surprised a lot of people. And then obviously Pepe Williams, can he make that next step, right? Is he just going to be that slot guy, or can he make that step to play on the outside like he did in college next to Marcus Jones, who was kind of their slot guy who played a little bit outside, but Marcus Jones was the undersized one in that cornerback room. Those are the three guys, in my opinion, that are having the most to prove and that are the like main players to watch and battle it out throughout this preseason. And not just watching how they're playing, right? I think it's where they're playing. Yeah. Where are they lining them up? Because I think Jalen Armour-Davis will be lined up on the outside the most out of them. But is Pepe getting reps on outside? Is Kyu Blu Kelly getting reps on the outside? Because if Kyu Blu Kelly is getting reps on the outside, this is what it tells me about what the Ravens are trying to do, which I've said this over the offseason, is they're going to try and play too deep. If that's what they're doing. Because
I see it.
The last few years, it hasn't been too deep, and they've tried to go Marlon and Marcus locked down, no help over the top a lot of the times, and it's kind of burnt them a few times, but it's allowed them to be more aggressive. Is Mike Macdonald going to transition to the college football approach where they're saying, you're not beating us in one play anymore. You have to drive the ball down the field and score in the red zone? Because that's what I feel like we saw down the stretch, and it looked really good. If Kyu's playing on the outside, expect the Ravens to be playing a lot of over-the-top help, not just for that game, not just because he's slow, but because that's a philosophical ideology that Mike Macdonald is trying to bring to this Ravens defense, which is help over the top and let your linebackers and your front seven do the work.
So let me ask you this. Out of those three, where would you want those guys lined up at if you come Saturday?
I want Pepe in the slot. Mm-hmm. I want Jalen Armour-Davis outside. And then I want Rock Ya-Sin on the outside just to start the game. Yeah. And then once Rock Ya-Sin comes out, I want to see Pepe slide into the slot, for maybe the second quarter or whatever. And then Pepe on the outside. And then once Pepe comes out, Kyu on the outside. So then we can kind of see them both play slot and outside, how they perform. But I don't want to see Jalen Armour-Davis in the slot. I just want to see him on the outside.
Yeah. Oh, hell no. I think we both can agree on that, man. But no, man, I definitely love Pepe, in that slot position, man. For the simple fact, slot guys are the most, in my opinion, most aggressive and most nastiest. I mean, and they got their instinct for the ball. When we look at, guys that we had in the slot, Tavon Young, he, when he was in the slot, he was good for getting us a pick. With Darius Webb, shout out to the late Trey Walker. I believe I'm saying his name correctly. If I am, I do apologize. We had him for a stint. I think he played in the slot a little bit, but we, every time we had a guy,
Tavon Walker.
Yeah. So, we've had a history of having guys, be that guy in the slot. And I don't think it would hurt Pepe Williams' career at all. If anything, we got a dog. We got a dog on the field. And the way Mike Macdonald will get his playmakers out there on the field. And we saw what he did at the University of Michigan. When it came down to it, even though he had his safety maybe wrong and stuff like that, he put it all on his front seven. I mean, yes, granted, it is a push. We are asking for a lot for two very young, and one young and raw defensive end to be those guys for damn near an hour of football. But hey, this is the job. This is the nature. This comes with the challenge. Either you're going to step up to the plate and be those dogs that we know you all can be, or you're going to fold under the pressure. But I don't feel like this team that is being assembled, these young men and veterans that are coming out there strapping up. I don't think these guys are going to crash under the pressure. I feel like this team this year is rising to the occasion. So I definitely feel like seeing Jalen Armour-Davis, seeing Kyu, seeing maybe even seeing our Darius, even get some reps at the slot, and Pepe being on the outside. It's going to be interesting to see what guy steps up and what guy kinds of just stays flat level for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to wrap up the positional battles. We'll still talk about players specifically to watch for this particular game,